I am here to invite you to the home of the richest man in Nebraska, circa 1910 to 1940. You see, I'm the executive director of the Jocelyn Castle. It's my job to keep this piece of history alive. The castle is an incredible feat of design on 5.5 acres of prime real estate right in the heart of town. That richest man, George Jocelyn, and his wife Sarah built their amazing home in 1903. It's a very physical reminder of their many contributions to our city and their prominence in our history. The Jocelyns were an interesting couple. The story goes, they moved west with just $9 in their pockets. About 10 years later, George was the majority owner of the Western Newspaper Union with 60 million readers. Besides being a shrewd businessman, George liked whiskey, cigars, and gambling. Now, you may have heard that the castle was built to prove that Omaha was a modern metropolis. It actually might be that George wanted to prove how rich he was. Sarah Jocelyn was no slouch. She managed their Metropolitan Hotel and the affairs of the household, which included a staff of several servants. Unlike George, she was in the Temperance League. When George died in 1916, neighbors reported seeing Sarah dumping all of his liquor down the sewer. I try to imagine what it was like living in the house with the two of them there. Sarah upstairs hosting a tea while George is down in the basement man cave fleecing a buddy over a game of pool or bowling. Somehow they made it work. George was about building great wealth, and when he died, Sarah set about giving that wealth to the city. Having already started the first chapter of the Nebraska Humane Society, she now gave heavily to the Visiting Nurses Association, the Child Saving Institute, the University of Nebraska, Omaha. The list goes on, but the cherry on top was her gift of the Jocelyn Art Museum. Together, this couple left an indelible mark on our town that we still see over 100 years later. Now, besides being a home, your castle has been the headquarters for Omaha Public Schools. It's been an event rental space, a place to enjoy creative programs. But the big question is, what will it be next? I mean, can a 116-year-old reinvent herself? Is it ever too late? Now, I've talked with countless people questioning whether it's important for us as a society to save this or old buildings like this that used to be prominent. Most people are prone to say, oh, it's too special to let it go. So I ask myself, okay, what makes it special? And I'm reminded of some of the encounters I've had with our visitors. One afternoon, I ran into what appeared to be 3 generations of a Greek family. I was approached by the grandfather, Nick, who had celebrated his daughter's wedding at the castle years before. They treasured an iconic photo of Nick dancing with his 6-year-old granddaughter, standing on his shoes. Here they were again, hoping to sneak inside and recapture that magic by getting a picture of his now teenage granddaughter dancing with him. Inspired by their connection to our place, I knew I had to indulge them, but more than that, I watched them together, again, under the crystal chandelier as they lovingly relived their moment. A memory recreated. Last summer, I met Carlo, who grew up a block from the castle in the 50s. He was excited to see hundreds of people on the lawns where he spent his summers. Carlo told me a story about creating secret missions with his boyhood friends and stashing their hand-drawn maps underneath our footbridge. As I listened, I couldn't help but picture the local kids that I see sitting on top of a picnic table when I drive away on a warm evening. This is their neighborhood. It's their outdoor home. Over the years, how many Family members, servants, school employees, neighbors, brides and grooms have made powerful memories in this place. So why would I come up here and ask you if it can be reimagined? Well, if we are to save this or any piece of history, we must plot its course for the future. We have the incredible opportunity and responsibility to forge new memories for the next 116 years. So, where do those memories start? Imagine you arrive for a special evening at the castle. You open the black iron gate adorned with G-A-J for George Alfred Jocelyn. You notice the hand-laid mosaic tile design of the porch, and as the massive front door swings slowly open, for a moment, you're transported to a time long ago. But I have a theory about places. Even the most fantastic are nothing without community. So I try to picture what that community looks like in the future. I see the castle's calendar packed with plays and art shows, dinners. There are now public tours offered 6 days a week. There's still people practicing yoga on the lawn, still plein air painters capturing the gardens as they practice their art. There's even a luncheon cafe for locals and tourists. Okay, so I've shared some memories of the past. I've given you a vision for the castle's future. Let's talk about the present. You see, historic preservation is a challenging endeavor. Communities across our nation struggle to save these treasured vestiges of the past. Historic homes speckled across our land live in a state of constant budgetary risk. The castle's salvation is not a given. So you ask, why bother? Well, I think of standing in the doorway of the dining room and looking through the crested archway that perfectly frames the cantilevered Spanish mahogany staircase of the grand foyer. 100 years later, its beauty is undeniable and irreplaceable. The castle affirmed that Omaha was a cosmopolitan city that could rival its East Coast contemporaries. We must save it because of its role in defining our place. But for me, the best answer to why bother? This place is incredibly cool. It's like a storybook, and we're writing the next chapter. I want to live in a town that's full of a variety of interesting places, one that celebrates its past and its future. And whether you accept it or not, you're shaping that future right now. So I hope you're asking yourself, how can I make my city exceptional? The good news is, it's not that hard. You don't have to be rich, but if you are, give me a call. The first step, though, is to fall in love. Visit your local treasure. Make your new memories there. I believe that places like this castle are worth saving. As a community, we can use these existing monuments to make our future brighter. We save them when we celebrate where memories are remembered and made anew. So I invite you, come to the home of the richest man in Nebraska and be part of our legacy, your legacy. Thank you.